Hello, I'm Amanda Call, and I'm here to present to you an unboxing and review of an art supply subscription box. The one that I signed up for is Art Snacks. See, I already got one about a month ago at the beginning of October, but I was in the middle of my October art challenge madness, so I did not get to edit and post that unboxing and review at that time. So I'm gonna jump back in time and show you what I got in that first box, and then we'll catch up to what I just got a couple days ago here this month at the beginning of November. Just got my first box. This just showed up in the mail today, and I'm gonna open it and see what's in it. This is kind of impromptu, so don't mind me hiding out in my circus tent. My cat is helping right now. Thank you, Odin. So I'm gonna try not to hurt myself or my cat as I open this with an X-Acto knife. Did you know, fun fact, #1 cause of injuries in art school is a number 11 X-Acto blade. I knew several people who ended up in the emergency room because of these. Alright, let's see what's in here. I'm excited to see. I got the premium or plus or whatever. The one where they provide you with a surface as well as the snacks. Ooh! Ooh! Oh, and it's right on top. Look at that. It's a nice big pad of, I don't know how to say it, but bean fang? I'm bad. I don't know how these things are pronounced. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're helping a whole lot. Alright, so that's what's on top. Oh yeah, I should mention this is 20 sheets. Wow, this is good. It's a 20 sheet 9x12 Bristol pad. Smooth surface. Not vellum, which is good because I love smooth Bristol. I can't stand vellum Bristol. What's the poundage on here? Where is it? 146 pound. Okay. What do we got? Oh, it comes in a little, like, zippy pouch. That's it for what's in the box. Let's see what's in here. Ooh! They sent me a Dum Dum. It's pineapple flavored. I actually like that flavor, so that works. I'm not going to put it on my artwork, though. That would be a bad plan. Alright, so I've got Plumchester paint markers in black and white. I've never tried any Plumchester before. This is like a brand that Art Snacks works with a lot. What else is in here? Oh, an eensy-weensy bottle of Indian ink. Royal Talons. I am unfamiliar. See, this is the thing. Part of why I wanted to do this is because I get very set in my ways. I buy the exact same art supplies every time. If you see my other art supply unboxing, this is the thing I buy every time. So it's kind of fun to try something new. Okay, so I'm guessing all the rest of the tools are in this. That's it for the bubble envelope. Ooh, a purple Plumchester ink paint marker. This is fun. Black and white and purple. Okay. Oh, there it's. Oh, okay. It's an ink brush. It's one of the ones where it's one of the synthetic brushes with the well where the ink is already inside of it, and then you just. I'm not gonna do it right now because I'll make a mess. This is the Winsor Newton fine liner. I don't typically buy too many of these. Oh, it's also in blue. Everything is blue. Oh, it's another one of these cursed plastic handles, which I already have oodles of, but that's okay. Okay, so the 517 is this one. I feel like I have used this nib in the past, in ye old art school days. It's been a while though. So that just sets right in there like this. And it's a little more flexible than the ones I used to use in art school. I think I used a different one. So I am kind of eager to try that out. That should be fun. So I guess now I will have to figure out what to try out. Oh, and they sent me a sticker of their little logo with a cool print on it. So that's what I got in my first Art Snacks box. I'm pretty excited actually to try this out. I wasn't sure if this was going to be something cool or if it was all going to be a bunch of stuff. You never know with like a subscription box, like if they're going to give you stuff that you're like, I don't really need this or like this. So I'm pretty pleasantly surprised with how this came out, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try. I wonder what I'm going to make first with all of this. So I actually did this piece as part of my October art challenge, so that was pretty fun. I tried to use just everything that came in the box for this one. I used the Sennelier ink brush pen thing to lay down a coat of blue all over the whole surface. I found actually that the Bristol that they included was a little bit weak sauce. It was kind of thin, and so I got a little bit of warping once it got really loaded up with water or any kind of liquid medium. The actual brush pen itself, I had a lot of fun using. It took a little bit of playing around of using it on its own versus dipping it in a little bit of water to dilute the color and give me a lighter wash. But eventually I kind of figured it out. I used it on a couple other pieces too, and I had a lot of fun with it. I can't say as I would do a lot of finished pieces with it, but it was great for sketching and that sort of thing. This was also the first time I used the Royal Talons India ink, and ultimately I loved this ink. I had a hard time using it with the other wet medium and this particular Bristol board because, I don't know, I think it was just this Bristol. It tended to be a little bit bleedy. The nib, as I suspected, had a little bit more give to it than the ones I was used to of that size and shape. So it worked pretty well for doing any kind of fine lines like this and getting a little bit of expression, but again, I wouldn't really use a lot of wet medium on this Bristol because it ended up just being a little bit too bleedy and runny. The Royal Talons, however, was super nice and matte black. It worked great with nibs, and at this point I'm using it more with nibs than I am my Winsor & Newton, which I'm still using with brush, but I feel like this works a lot better in the nibs. I also used the blue fine liner for some details here, and I don't know, I guess I'm just I don't really get fine liners. I'm not super into it. Again, fun for sketching, making notes or that sort of thing. I know a lot of people like them for like journaling and that sort of thing, but not something I'm going to use super frequently. Finally, the paint markers. Shake them up, get some color out. It takes a lot of shaking and pressing to get the color out, but eventually, once you do, yeah, they were really fun to play with. They were really fun to kind of layer and get these nice flat opaque effects on top of the other work that you already had once it was dry, of course. And when the paint markers were still wet, you could kind of blend them with each other, which was pretty cool. And what I did here. I ended up using the white one a few more times on a few other black and white ink pieces because it makes a really nice matte kind of like flat thing if you just want to get really nice straight lines or geometric dots on top of black. It's a lot easier to get that effect with than using white gouache like I normally did. Okay, so now the really exciting part for present Amanda is I'm going to open up the November box that I just got. So I'm still doing the Art Snacks Plus, so there should be a surface in here as well as a bunch of art supplies. I have my knife at the ready. Thankfully my cat is not in my lap this time, so I can actually do hopefully without hurting myself. It also came it was a little busted. It was a little worse for wear. Had a rough journey this time. Alright, ooh. So my surface right on top this time are these Crescent, a brand I'm unfamiliar with, Crescent Creative Products illustration boards. It's 3 9x12 cold press, pH neutral, 300 pound. So this is some big old boards. I want to bust this open and see what it feels like. An illustration board is almost like they're very thick. It's almost like a matte board. The surface is pretty smooth. It's got a little bit of texture, a little bit of tooth to it. I can see this working well for like a dry medium, like colored pencils. So let's see what else they sent. What else do we have in the box? All right, so we've got the little zippy pouch, same as last time. We also have our little informational doodads. This is the big one, tells me what's in the plus part. Ooh. Marabou Graphics sketch markers, Alpha Robot set of 6. That would be this. Okay, I really do not use markers. I really have not used markers since art school, when I had to use Prismacolor markers for a bunch of storyboarding work because I have a degree in sequential art, so we had to, even though my focus was comics, we had to learn a lot of animation storyboarding and film storyboarding because like you could have taken a storyboarding track in that major instead of a comics track. So it's a grayscale set. So you've got... Get back out of there. Alright, so you got a grayscale set, so it looks like several... Yeah, there's one warm gray, so... Or no, there's 3 warm grays and 3 cool grays. A medium, light, and a dark in each. Yeah, these are my warm grays, these are my cool grays. It's got a nice little chisel point on one end. And a fine-ish round tip on the other end. So I will have to play around with this because this is not something I have really used much of since my art school days. So we'll see. That'll be fun to play with anyway. They're alcohol-based markers, so similar to like the Prismacolors or to Copics or that sort of thing. And what's my snack? Oh, Airheads. I'm not crazy about Airheads. I'll probably give this to my kid. I have 2 children. I'll make them fight over it. So on the smaller thing, the smaller little like bookmark-sized informational thing, it tells me what else they sent me. So I will look at what's in the bag and then I'll read this over. I like that they do give you information about what the products are so that if you open it up and you're like, what am I looking at? Then you know what you're looking at. We have a monograph pastel color mechanical pencil. So this is a 0.5 millimeter mechanical pencil. Alright, where'd my cheat sheet go? To extend the lead in this unique pencil, just jiggle it. Interesting. Once you're done drawing, click the lock on the side to prevent accidental lead extension. That's really interesting. I'll have to play with that some. So that's neat. You shake it. You shake it to get the blood out. We have, it looks like another kind of felt pen. This is the Tombow Fudenosuke Neon Brush Pen. It's a little brush pen, water-based pigment ink. It's in like a pretty bright blue color. That'll actually play nicely with the bright blue art supplies that I got in October, so that's fun. Got these pencils, which are Cran Dash Luminance colored pencils. And I got one in, what color are you? Where do you say what color you are? Oh, they print it like horizontally, very tiny, like this hurts my poor eyes. I don't know, it's blue. And this is light flesh, 10%. Colors being called flesh just like really freaks me out. It's so grotesque. It's such a grotesque word. And like, yes, this looks like, sort of looks like my flesh, but flesh, for one thing, very few people have my flesh color on planet Earth. And for another thing, flesh, for one, ew, gross. Reminds me of like meat, gross. And can also refer to like the inside of a fruit or vegetable. Like, it's just such a gross, not actually descriptive word for a color. Rant over. Okay. We got another marker. This is another of the Marabou Graphics sketch markers. So it's like the other ones where it's got the big chisel on one side and the little round tip on the other. And this one is bright pink. So that's an interesting assortment of colors. I've got some like pinks and some blues and a lot of gray. So I'll have to think about what I'm going to do with that. And they sent me another cool sticker with some little like pixelated pattern on it this time. That's fun. And yeah, that looks like it for this box. So now let's see what I make with this one. So I started with a piece of the illustration board and the fancy mechanical pencil, which I totally forgot how it worked. I forgot about the shaking to get it to work, so you see me fumbling with it for a minute there. Once I actually got it to start dispensing lead, I think by accidentally shaking it in frustration, it works fine. It's a mechanical pencil. I like that it's nice and fat because that made it nice and easier to grip. It's not good for you to grip super tightly, so having fatter utensils is a really good idea. The illustration board was also really nice to draw on. It's so nice and thick, and I really loved using that, which is not something I get to use super often. Once I got the underdrawing done, I broke out the alcohol markers, and yeah, it's been a very long time since I used those, so there was a little bit of fumbling around trying to remember, how do I alcohol marker? Eventually, I figured it out. They worked really nicely on the illustration board. The illustration board I felt kind of soaked them up a little bit fast, so it was hard for them to stay wet long enough for me to blend them, but they blended pretty well once I got back into a groove and got my timing right. I felt that the illustration board also did a great job hiding the overlapping lines from the different passes of the markers, or maybe that's just the quality of these particular markers themselves. Either way, I enjoyed using them, but I can't say it's something I'm going to do a lot on finished pieces. I might go back and do that some more, just kind of for sketching or my own kind of thing, but it's not really my preferred medium for doing a finished piece. I also wanted to only stick with the materials that I got in the box other than an eraser, so I had a little bit of trouble trying to figure out how I was going to incorporate the bright pink and flesh colored pencil and the bright blue colors that I got. So I did this kind of rose thing where I tried to, rose and bird and skull thing where I tried to, add some depth to the pink using one of the gray markers and then using the colored pencil. You can see I kind of messed around here trying to find a good way to work, and eventually I found a way to kind of do a mixed media technique with them that I really liked. I was surprised by how well they actually played together, and ultimately, while I can't say it's like the most amazing rose I've ever colored, using the colored pencils and the alcohol markers together was actually pretty satisfying and created some cool effects. Finally, I used the bright blue felt tip pen on my little blue bird sitting on top of the skull here. I used the blue felt tip pen to do most of the coloring on the bird, and then added a little bit more depth with the colored pencil, which played really nicely with the bright blue, and a little bit with the alcohol markers, which also worked together really well with the other two mediums. Though I think my favorite thing to use on the board was definitely the colored pencil, so the other two boards that I still have, I'm almost certainly going to save them for a colored pencil piece later on down the road, because those were awesome. They felt great on this surface. So overall, I am still really enjoying getting to try new art supplies, getting these new art supplies sent to me, and getting to try new things out, and I feel like the value is really good. So the Plus subscription, which I have right now, is about $50 a month, which is not cheap, but at the same time, the retail value of all of this, I don't know if you've shopped for actually decent art supplies recently, but you would way surpass $50 just getting what you have right here. So it's well worth it, because the other thing is, I wouldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't go into an art supply store and spend $50 on art supplies I've never tried before, and that's not necessarily good. Like, it's good to try new things and to stretch your creative muscles and to try things that you wouldn't normally do. I think as of right now, I'll try it for one more month, see what percentage of what I get in that month is something that I would actually want to continue using versus stuff that I'm probably going to just play with once or twice and then never touch again. If it's more of the latter than the former, then I'll probably call it after 3 months, which is usually my rule of thumb on subscription type services. Yeah, overall I'm really pleased with it. It's a great value, and especially if you want to try new art supplies that you maybe would never have tried before and see if there's something new that you might like, it's definitely well worth trying out. Thanks everybody for watching the video. Make sure that you like the channel and subscribe and all of the fun YouTube stuff like you're supposed to do, and I will see you next time. Bye!